Hello, 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 hello. Hi, everybody. My natural lighting is gone today. It's overcast in Miami. There there are a lot of clouds, so I apologize. Actually, no, the lighting isn't terrible. The lighting isn't terrible. It isn't exactly what I wanted, but it's not terrible. Ma'am, she just started this, by the way. I just want to be very clear that hello, girl. I want to be very clear that the reason, I don't know. I don't know why she does this every single time. Like every single time. Give me one moment, guys. I'll be right back. Ma'am, madam, hey, queen, come here, queen. I call her queen, so she's more susceptible to a. Yeah, no, this is not the time. I know that you're feeling attacked, but it's just not the time. So come along. Come along, little one. Go. Thank you. All right, guys. I'm back. Hello. All right, so welcome to another episode of Attunement with me, your host, Lauren. Yeah, today we're going to be, you know what? Let's get our breath together, shall we? That's going to be the first thing we do because I am coming with all sorts of flustered energy. Give me one moment. I'm not gonna lie, I was a little late today. This 333 on the dot thing, yeah. It's nerve-wracking. It's like a countdown for me sometimes. But I just want to get comfortable so I'm not moving around too much for you guys, because today I have a very special guest coming in to talk with us about the inner child. Today we're going to be talking to and about our inner children. Whew. All right. Yes. So I'm just going to call her in. Let me go. I'm going to go. I'm going to let them introduce themselves, but waiting on you, baby. Hello.
Hello, hello.
Hi, welcome. Welcome to the chat. Can you introduce yourself for everyone?
Absolutely, Lauren. Thank you so much for having me. So my name is Dr. Nicole LaPera, for those of you who don't know me, and I go by on Instagram, the Holistic Psychologist.
Yes, ma'am. Yes. Okay, wait, yeah. So I had Dr. Nicole on because I love your work so much. I can't even express to you how much you've helped me heal. Like I sent like a personal message to you one time, and I've retweeted, like reposted a bunch of your stuff like on my stories. Just because every time I read one of your things, like I seriously I resonate in a brand new way. I bring up, there's just so much healing comes up in me, and I really appreciate the work that you do. So I just wanted to have you introduce yourselves to my fans and just kind of give them a little insight on this, just kind of this conversation. I just wanted to talk with you a little bit about the inner child and healing that, because that's a lot of the work that I've kind of been focusing on the most lately. Because once you start to, I've noticed that once I start to kind of dig up all of those subconscious, pains and triggers and things like that, that the main person that's always, in question is that inner child. You know what I mean? That they're the culprit behind like a lot of the pain stories and trauma stories that I keep telling myself. So yeah, I just wanted to dive into that with you and just talk with you about that, and you want to share some insight or however you want.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm so glad, Lauren, to hear that my work is resonating with you. And quite honestly, I think that, I attribute, put it this way, the success of, me coming on Instagram a year and a half ago to that reality. I think I'm speaking universal truths to a lot of us. They weren't what I am now sharing. Let me put it this way, and I'll give you a little background on myself for those of you who don't yet know me or my work. These weren't always my truths or my reality. So who I am on a personal level is I'm a human like a lot of us out there who have known anxiety, right? Like big time. Like anxiety was, I often describe it as my resting state. I was born into a very anxious family with very anxious parents. So for me, it was understandable that I too would have anxiety.
Yeah,
So that's
anxiety is like a default setting.
exactly right. And everyone around me was, you know, struggling in the same ways. So just thought that this was something that I would be saddled with for my life. And it would be the conversations that I would be having with myself and my anxiety around managing symptoms. So that's me on a personal level. Me on a professional level, I'm one of those people who I've always been so fascinated by people, what makes them do what they do, and the mind in particular.
Dude.
You know what
When I go back to school officially, like anthropology is gonna be like one of my main.
Yeah.
Humans are so ridiculous and fascinating to me.
So
like,
fascinating. I know. I know. It's been a running joke in my family for some time that I was going to be a lifetime student because I was always kind of seeking more information and about, you know, people in general. And there are endless things to learn and to understand and to not understand, I think, with the complicated creatures that us humans are. So that was all.
And everyone is so unique. Like,
yes,
we're all like the same by like default, like in terms of the species that we are, but we're all so unique and individual, even within all of the different categories that we've put ourselves into, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't agree more. And you'll hear me a lot of times while I talk about practical tools to heal or to self-heal, you'll never hear me giving a like kind of prescription plan that's universal where this is the step one for everyone and this is the step. I don't believe that that exists because, to speak to your very beautifully articulated point, we are so unique. There isn't a one size fits all model. And I think the field of the mental wellness field, the traditional mental wellness field, I'm hoping to see it change in my lifetime. But I think that anything that has this idea that there's one manualized, one approach, I just call that into question because I couldn't agree more. We're all different. But I came through that field. I came through that field in training. I had a private practice. It was in Philadelphia where I used to live. And I was trudging along, you know, kind of life adulting, as you will. Until, you know what I mean?
And I feel you.
There's a lot about, and part of my story too, I'm telling you, Lauren, I say that because as I was adulting away, I found myself exhausted with no inspiration. My anxiety was there. My relationships weren't great, if I'm perfectly honest, right? But yet I'm this clinician who knows the tools, who knows how to, you know, kind of manage these things. And quite honestly, I wasn't managing. I wasn't managing, you know, if I'm honest, I just wasn't. So after some years of struggling personally and being really honest with myself, as much as I hated it, and also watching these same struggles in my clients who I'm like, you know, supposed to be supporting in their healing, I'm noticing that we're all just stuck. No one's getting better. No one's really
like
able.
Like molasses. It's like the time and space continuum. Like, we already know we're slowed down and put into matter and like all of that stuff, but it's like, it's really slow out here. And we're so slow to want to change and so slow to think that we're worthy of the change.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, it takes so much to convince ourselves that like we're worth that.
Yeah.
Effort that we give to everything else and everyone else and to the idea of success, but like not to ourselves.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
and there's
really grappling with a lot.
Yeah, you'll hear me talk pretty universally about why change generally is hard, but you're already beautifully illustrating a belief that a lot of our inner children have that we're not worthy. So obviously it's more complicated. You'll hear me talk about change as just being difficult, and there's a whole reason why in our human minds that it is difficult. That aside, when we talk about inner child work, a lot of our inner children don't feel worthy because of our past experiences. And so to speak to that point, if I were to maybe logically, I want this better life, if you will, for myself, if I have a deep belief that my inner child isn't worthy of that better life, now it gets more complicated. Now that already hard thing to do, which is change, becomes even harder. So this is why. So after what had happened in my personal life at the same time as I was having my practice, observing all of this, feeling really frustrated all around, I started to become very unwell, physically, emotionally, spiritually, all of the above. I call it my dark night of the soul that I know very much resonates with a lot of us. And as a result of hitting that bottom, as a lot of us do, I dove online, first and foremost, trying to figure out what the hell was wrong with me. Because at this point, I was
And
convinced
then
that,
you come across WebMD and you're like,
and then I, then I'm
and I have every
convinced.
single mental illness.
Yes. Yeah. So I did all that just like anyone else probably listening would do. Like, I'm having symptoms. I start to have physical symptoms. I start to faint. I mean, so things that were already at a baseline, not great, started to get even worse. After I scared the shit out of myself on WebMD, I actually, thankfully, happened into this whole world of research that I was never exposed to, that really spoke about, which I now believe to be true, the human as not just a separate entity. We're not just a mind that goes to a mind doctor and then a body that goes to a body doctor. And those of us who believe in the spirit or the soul, right? That is dealt with maybe in religion, right? We are all one thing. Yes.
Meiosis. We need each other the way we need every single part of ourselves.
Yes.
I'm learning that in I'm doing an herbal artist healing class, and that's one of the main things. The basis of the curriculum is literally everything is connected. We are all energy, and everything is connected.
Yes.
You can't separate the whole system of specialists that you have to go through in America to get somewhere that you can actually get help for what you may or may not even have at that point. You know what I mean? It's just mind-boggling to me because everything affects everything. So any doctor or anyone who's looking at a person and getting into the reasons why they're unwell, there should be just a comprehensive understanding from that person that everything is connected. Your mind state, your spirit state, and your body state, those three things need to be vibrating properly in order for you to be able to express and be a fucking functioning human.
Could not agree more. And so as I began to learn that and heal myself, because I started to look at my whole self and I started to make changes in how I was living my life so that my physical body could be more balanced. I started to really pay attention to how lost in thought I became all day, which for a lot of us is all day long. All day long, we're not present. We're not in our bodies, right? We're not making our choices. We're living in autopilot. And I came to realize what was calling a lot of my choices is that inner child, is that wounded space inside of me that I believe we all have. So as I started to do work in all of those three areas, balance my body, right? Really understand that powerful function of my mind and how that was coloring my experience, and factor in that I believe I am a spiritual being and that I was living out of alignment, as I actually started to get better. So these symptoms, right? It no longer became a conversation for me. Oh, I'm an anxious person, but my symptoms are managed. I feel like a different person. So my life changed so drastically. I then came to realize that this is why a lot of people are really frustrated in the mental wellness field, whether you're the patient or the client who's stuck, or you're the clinician who's just as equally stuck, because we're not being told the whole story and we're not working with the whole person in a way that can be as impactful. So now online, I use this as a platform to not only get this message of wholeness out there, but I believe, because I've done it and now I have a huge community around the world who's done it, we can actually create healing in our life through making daily changes.
Amen.
Amen, right? Preach.
Preach. And I think that the point of this conversation, and all of this is incredible to the wholeness of what it means to talk to and heal, the importance of healing that inner child. Because like I said in the beginning, I feel like she's been the one who's she's not holding me back. She keeps reminding me of the pain. You know what I mean? The what if it doesn't go right? The what if this person doesn't love you back? You remember how you felt that time? You remember this? Yes. Actually, it's way better to protect yourself. Maybe don't do anything at all. Let's just sit over here in the corner and do all the stuff that we don't like to do. It's why are we doing that? No, I want to make you happy. How do I make you happy? You know? What are things that we can do that'll make us, even if it's just one thing every day? Because that's what I've learned is I'm an all or nothing type bitch. I need everything. You know what I mean? And so I'm that way a lot when I'm in my, writing space and my career, the way that I handle my life. You know what I mean? I give my all every time. So I think that in the healing process, it's hard for me because I'm used to giving my all and then receiving, what giving your all gets you in this universe. When you really give the universe your all, the universe returns that.
Yeah.
But for some reason, when it comes to my healing, it's like I feel like I'm giving a lot, but then I'm just like in my head about, oh, but did you really? Like, here's this, and this that you didn't do, right? So then, since I'm all or nothing, I just give up,
Yep.
sometimes. And I'm just like, okay, it's not happening. I'm not changing. This
Yeah.
just must be who I am. You know what I mean? Like, whatever. Like, I'm cognitively aware of the things that are wrong, but then there's just this like trabito, like this little just like stuck, like you were saying, the stuck feeling. We were talking about that molasses. It's like, where does that push come from? And I feel deeply that it is doing little things every day that can help us get our inner child to a point where like they trust us, to make them happy.
Yeah, well,
fail them.
Thank you for sharing all of that with me and with all of us, Lauren, because in that story, you really encapsulated a lot of truths, which is a lot of things happen to many of us in childhood outside of traditionally what we think of in terms of big T trauma, right? So if you're listening and you don't, as I didn't, like I looked back and there wasn't any instances of egregious like physical sexual abuse or neglect, right? That didn't happen. So I couldn't make sense of it. You'll hear me talking about other wounding that happens to us as children, right? Where we're not seen, where we're not heard consistently, where we're not, kind of honored as an authentic being, different and separate from our parents. I mean, the list goes on.
Yeah.
Right?
And then it's also like that, I feel the acceptance of like, a lot of the time, these parents are unaware of what they're instilling, unaware of what they've had programmed into them, unaware of the damage that they're doing, because they really think they're doing it out of love.
Yeah, very well intentioned.
Because they know how fucked up the world is.
Yeah, well intentioned. Sometimes parents will have an experience in their childhood that was painful, so very well intentioned, they might try to give the opposite experience. Either way, right? So you beautifully worded something in there. We were hurt. I'm going to really simplify this, right? We were hurt in childhood for different reasons. And then what happens is just like you described it, that hurt, we are very adaptive. So as a child, we dealt with that hurt by protecting ourselves in some way. And then, so like you said, hell no, I'm not going to walk back into that fire again. Right. And then that's what we became conditioned around, protection. So we all are carrying an inner child that's been wounded, for different reasons, depending on different backgrounds. And we're also living in that protective space a lot. So while logically, we might want a fulfilling relationship, if I've been hurt in a relationship or abandoned, I don't want to walk into any relationship. I'm scared too, right? So now I'm really stuck, right? Because all I want is this desperate connection, you know what I mean? But I'm protecting myself from the connection. So now I'm just frustrated.
Yeah.
That's just one small example.
The human condition is to seek connection. It's like the very first thing we were talking about, everything is in oneness. Everything is symbiotic. We are naturally beings who gravitate towards being loved and wanting to be accepted and wanting to be understood, for who we truly are. And this whole entire society and this whole entire paradigm that we live in right now is just so based on the opposite of that. It's so based on making you insecure and making you feel so distanced from yourself, so other from everyone around you. It's making strangers very other and making everything just very scary. You know what I mean? When the reality is that we're not very scary. Like, we have very specific needs that, like, if they're met, like, we're pretty chilling people. Like, across the board. Like, if we truly give people environments where they feel seen off bat. Of course, granted, there's sociopaths that exist, but like, they're like a separate thing. But they're also trauma-based, I feel, for the most part, whether they know it or not, or whether anyone admits it or not, it's just, those are all different realities that are existing at the same time,
Yeah, 100%. And I go as far to say that I find very few adults who have had modeling of that kind of separate but yet interdependent is the word I always use, relationship in childhood. So we become very conditioned. The relationship experience we had in our earliest relationships becomes the model unless we become conscious. So to speak to your question, what do? A lot of us have to do some changing. We have to show up differently in our worlds. We have to not rely on those protective mechanisms anymore and do something new. So because change is so hard, I actually do not suggest you go into, I'm going to change my life from top to bottom tomorrow. I actually, the concept you'll hear me talk about
that's my shit. Is right, like, I'm going to be better all
all at once,
Let's
right?
go.
And that's overwhelming. So the reason why we can't maintain, it's understandable, right, Lauren? Because a lot of times
but I
when
shit on myself about it. That's the
because we want to change something, and the fastest way to change something, if I'm uncomfortable, is to change everything. I just want to feel better soon. But unfortunately, a lot of us set ourselves up to shame ourselves on the back end when we can't maintain those changes.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, dude. Like,
and then
that? Like, why?
become, so the quick why, so I referenced a reason in our minds why we have this thing, I call it the autopilot. It's the computer program. We like that analogy, right? We have these programs
We're definitely a little computer program.
This is true because what happens is when we come to this planet, however you think we get here, I'm going to really be silly and simplify things. We have a lot of learning to do. How to be in a physical body, how to move it, how to navigate these things called emotions and people and relationships, right? We come and we're in literally our brain from birth until age 7 is in a very sponge-like state. It's why babies' eyes are so big. They're taking in the world.
Everything, yeah.
Right? And we actually are,
those days.
It's so fascinating, right? We're primed to learn. So what we do is we kind of develop all of these programs for how to be human. We're so grateful for that, because if we had to wake up every day as an adult and remind ourselves how to drive a car, or it's that example, right? I'm driving my car, I'm not paying attention. Oh, but thankfully I'm home alive. Who drove the car home? I did, but I wasn't really having to pay attention to the act of driving. That's that autopilot in action. So like I say, we need that. We cannot consciously think of everything we have to do logically to human every day. However, the issue becomes those programs, right? They were laid down at a time where maybe we weren't having the most healthy models, and maybe the people that we were seeing around us and seeing what they do wouldn't be the things that would work for us. So why change is hard. You and I could have a conversation here today, maybe listeners. I could logically, and this is what was happening with my patients in my practice. We would have session on Tuesday. We would come up very logically, right? We're now using a different part of our brain. So the subconscious is where our autopilot is stored. When you and I are having a conversation, we're typically in the more conscious part of our brain. So logic, that's where logic exists. So we can say, okay, these things don't work in my life anymore. So I'm going to make this change starting the second I leave this session. Great plan. However, if I leave the session and I go right back into that autopilot, that's what's going to actually dictate what happens next. So I'm going to probably do the same thing I do every time I'm upset, because I haven't consciously made a different choice. So change is hard, right? Because anytime we do something new, we feel uncomfortable.
Yeah.
We feel uncomfortable. And that, for many of us, is enough reason to go right back into that familiar behavior, even if it's not logical, right? Even if it's not going to get us right the goal.
I feel like I'm constantly, when I refer to life, I refer to it like waves, like just it comes in like ups and downs. And before, I used to be very like pessimistic about those ups and downs and what they meant. Like, I thought it was like everything good would just be taken away when it got too good, Yeah. And now I've learned to just kind of like swap that out, and it's like, it's good. Like, we're chilling. It's just those dips, that we have to get through, right? And that those dips aren't my fault, but that they also are my responsibility.
Yeah.
So I'm in that stage right now of growth, I feel, where I'm taking responsibility, and I'm learning to be imperfect in taking that responsibility, because to me, taking responsibility has always meant that I need to be perfect.
Yeah.
That I need to deliver at 1,000%.
Yeah.
I'm gonna cry. All the time. And
it's probably exhausting and unattainable, amongst other things.
Yeah. And sometimes it's really hard,
Yeah, it's really hard.
Outside pressure is like crazy sometimes. So it's just like trying to navigate being a human and trying to navigate the way that the world's perceiving you at all times is just crazy.
Yeah, so I couldn't agree more. And there's so much outside, like you're saying, that's not our fault. That's outside of our control. Yeah. But what we can control is how we navigate those situations. So one of my main messages in this self-healing, model is just to empower ourselves, so that regardless, and I'm not here to minimize how terrible people's outsides can be. I'm just here to give them a tool, or to empower them to create a space inside, right, where they can find, whether it's a moment of peace or a moment of clarity or just a moment of reconnection within ourselves. So
Yeah.
I don't talk in faults, but I know that there are going to always be things that exist outside of our control. One of the most difficult tolerated human emotions is not feeling like we have control. So where we
That's my
always
main
have
thing.
control is
And
in
when
here.
I lose control, that's when I get crazy, you know. I'm not crazy. I disconnect, you know. I dissociate, and I literally
Yes,
like
me too.
try to just I go into that autopilot mode, even though I have that little conscious side of me that's literally like, yo, this
Yeah.
is not good for you. Like,
Yeah.
you know what you're doing right now. Like, why are you making this decision? You know? And then
Mhm.
there's that one part of me who's really small, who's like, it's okay, you're growing.
Yeah.
She's like an echo in the
Yeah.
distance. But
She'll
then
get
there's
louder.
another little shame monster that's like,
Mhm.
bitch, you know better. What are you doing? You're
Yeah.
better. You're better than that. Why are you making this decision? This is horrible. You're horrible. You know what I mean? And just like
Yeah.
we'll say those things, you know? So it's just like I'm trying to learn to quiet all the voices
Mhm.
and really hear that girl in the back. It's like,
Yeah.
you're good, you're here, like, don't
Yeah.
worry.
Well, I think what
You'll be
you're
okay.
beautifully illustrating is so what do we do with our inner child? The most empowering first, I guess, two steps is to acknowledge that we all have one. We all
Mm-hmm.
have those wounded spaces, right? We're all doing and coping the best that we have thus far knew how, and maybe some of us are attempting to make changes. So acknowledging that we all have those wounded spaces and accepting. While I throw it out there like it's an easy thing, that's where most of us have to do the work. Accepting all of the pain that we had, accepting, how we've learned to cope with things. Maybe we want to make change, but so many of us have those critical voices where we just tear ourselves down. And a lot of us have multiple voices, just like you beautifully described it. Our goal, right, is to cultivate that compassionate voice, because a lot of us didn't have that in childhood. A lot of us might even got direct messages not to be or think or feel or do as we naturally were inclined to. So for a lot of us, the healing is acceptance based. It's nothing really about changing. It's about making space for who we always have been.
Amen. And the present moment, I feel like even acceptance of reality, you know, just for what it is, whether that's the moments that have passed that are literally not where you are right now
Mm-hmm.
anymore, you know, like literally, like you're in a brand new
Yeah,
state,
yes.
you're in a brand new space, you're in a brand new mind than even 10 minutes ago, if you want to be, you know what I mean? And that you're not exactly where you're going yet. But this is how I know that what I'm doing here on Sundays is really divine. Because this has been on my heart, like very heavily, you know what I mean? Like just these feelings of being unable to accept. And right before having this conversation, I was like, I don't know what the fuck I'm going to talk about today. I don't know how it's going to go. I know what I want to focus on, but I don't really know where it's going to go, you know? Um, but then I was talking about that today though with my friend. It's just literally like learning to accept what is
Mm-hmm.
and accepting what I literally cannot change or control. And just instead of looking at it as an obstacle, looking at it as an opportunity for growth, you know, an opportunity for me to get to know myself better. Whether it's something as simple as like noticing that other people aren't supporting my music the way that I wish they would. You know what I mean? Let's say that, right? And then it's like I can't control how other people are going to support me, but I can control how much I put into my art and how much it means to me and how much I'm communicating. And then I can just like that's all it is. It's like I hope that translates, man. Like
Mm-hmm.
I hope my lyrics transfer. I hope that's what resonates at whatever point it does. You know what I mean? It's literally not in my control. You
Mm-hmm.
know, but I do have a lot in my control that I can do. And one of the most important parts, I think, is sharing these kinds of moments of real life, you know, of going through real shit. And this is what people I feel need, especially right now when we're also confused because we don't know what the fuck's going on. And all this time to myself, anyway, I don't know about anyone else at home, but all this time to think, all this
Mm-hmm.
time to not be productive when all of our worth has been tied to productivity our whole lives. Like what? Like
Mm-hmm.
having to people who really do not want to be unemployed, having to become unemployed because of circumstance, not because they did something wrong or because they deserved it. That has to be so like intense to be going through right now and feeling right now, you know what I mean? And I know it's intense for me, and I'm a creative, so I have time and space to even do what I love, but I'm finding it hard to
Mm-hmm.
even lock in sometimes because I'm so like, whoa, the world is just different. Like, how are we gonna survive? Like, what are we
Yeah.
gonna do
And
next?
because,
And I feel like my inner child is triggered. She's like,
yeah.
help me, girl,
Mhm.
we need to heal, because if you don't heal, bitch, I don't know where we're gonna go. I don't know what's gonna happen here.
Yeah, and you're not alone, Lauren. A lot of us are feeling, whether or not because actual external circumstances have changed, with finances, with homes, whatever it might be, but or whether or not it's just kind of internal. A lot of us are feeling threatened. A lot of us are, and that is very activating for our inner children, especially those of us who in childhood didn't have security, whether because we didn't have our physical needs met, which a lot of us didn't, whether or not because we didn't have our emotional needs met, because a lot of us didn't, so a lot of us are going back to that place where we feel all of the emotions that maybe came up, in a time where we were not actually able to depend on ourselves. However, we're not yet able to rely on ourselves fully as adults because we're not knowing how. And I'm the first person who's always sharing. So I love how you speak very honestly about yourself and your inner child, because you'll always hear me talking about my own healing journey because I'm still on it. I don't see an end in
Yeah,
sight.
I
And
think that's one of my main points that I really want to highlight always, is like, I'm having these conversations because I think I've noticed what healing has done for me in my life. You know what I mean? And what confronting these truths and what growing through these truths have helped me to overcome. You know what I mean? And so when I think of being an artist, when I think of having a platform, when I think of all of the 5,000, 6,000 people who are watching right now who have an opportunity to just engage with me, you know what I mean? Like, I always want everything that we do together to be about healing and about helping other people on their journey to themselves and on their journey to loving themselves, because that's what life has been about for me. You know what I mean? Like, and that's literally the as authentic as I can give it to anybody, is this truth of like knowing or discovering very early on that I was different, that I was unique, that I wasn't, that this society and this world that we live in was not cool. Like, it's not cool that like life is unfair. It's not cool that just some people get hurt and others don't. Like, it's just fucked up. You know what I mean? And I've always felt that in me, And so when I think of the best way to combat that, like, what's the best way that we can really like break out of this mental slavery we're all in, and it's to love ourselves, and it's to heal ourselves, and it's to go on that journey. And so like, as an artist, I feel like going through that journey publicly is like part of the weird sacrifice that you don't realize is a sacrifice, and that also really isn't, because it's a beautiful thing also to be able to share. Sometimes it's really painful and personal, and it gets picked apart like it's nothing, like it's worthless, or like it's irrelevant, or like it's not charting. You know what I mean? So it doesn't mean anything. Your pain, your feelings, your expression means nothing if it doesn't have some sort of productive value to it. So I'm trying to heal through that and get out of that, and because I was in a machine, you know what I mean, where that was all that mattered.
yeah.
And now it's like, of course everyone wants the machine to continue, but it's like on one side I do want the machine to continue, but then on the other side I'm like, I also really want to be a person, and I want to live my life, and I want to experience and grow, and I want to share that through my art, and that be what connects. I don't want to have to like paint a picture for you. Like, I want you to see the picture, like when you show up, like like you just get the picture.
Yeah,
I don't
that's it.
know.
Yeah,
It's,
no, really, no, really, really beautiful. And honestly, when I first came on Instagram, my two main intentions, one was to begin to speak this new holistic truth, that I'd come to know,
yeah,
that wasn't yet in the field. So I wanted just to be able to have this space where I was sharing what I was now knowing to be true. Another one was connecting with other individuals who were sharing somewhat of the same truth. Because as I began to heal, I noticed that my relationships were evolving and some were devolving, right? So I was finding myself, as a lot of us do, lonely and not really feeling like I had the same language to share with those around me. So coming online and speaking my truth, as I did so, I really had to kind of internalize, the knowing that my truth likely was not going to be for everyone, right? So as long as I just stayed in alignment and I put my truth out there, I know that I'm going to hear some not positive things about this new truth, that and I still do, right?
oh
So
yeah,
so it
same girl.
is a vulnerable thing, right? To be able to
People
speak your,
love dude, trigger people love to throw their shit online
And the helpful thing is,
everyone,
right,
at
so I
whoever.
share this because being, kind of visible in the way that I'm now visible, not only are those moments of practice for me of doing what I do, or what I call it is depersonalizing, understanding that what's happening for this person is real, that feeling they're having is real, but I don't have to necessarily take ownership over having caused it or having been able to even fix it, right? So that's part of
Oh, the nuggets that
it.
just came out of your mouth.
And if I'm even really honest, I am
Let's go.
challenged on a daily. My inner child, because we're talking about inner child, is challenged every time I'm on a screen like this. Every time I see that number of people watching me, anytime I'm giving a speech and there's actually humans in the crowd, because as much as my inner child wants to be seen, it's the most unfamiliar, uncomfortable thing in the world for me. So being visible is such an exercise in my own healing.
Dude,
and
that is
I'm the first one to share it, It's not
Dude,
comfortable, but here I am.
I feel you 100%. That's how I feel also when I'm like gonna perform, you know what I mean? Or when I'm gonna do an interview. It's like, okay.
Yeah.
Like of course, the inner child in me who like loves to create and loves to express myself. Of course, I want people to see that art and be like, yeah, this is cool. I like this, and have it. You know what I mean? And share it with me.
Mm-hmm.
But then there's also that other part of me, like, fuck this, dude.
Yeah.
Like, there's so many people.
Yeah.
Like, why? Like, no.
I'll add a third part, and then there's a part of me that if someone does think what I'm saying is cool or is resonating, I'm like, oh, they don't really mean it. They can't, So it's like, what is it? It's complicated.
Literally.
And that's why I shared. So I have a very similar experience for you. Like as we're healing visibly, I talk about it because I know that other humans now can resonate. We are sharing a language. And even the fact that you and I now have connected, in this virtual sphere, and that you and I can have such a conversation where we are speaking the same language is amazing. I love this.
You've given me a lot of language, actually. That's something that's really beautiful. Like me and my best friend Britt, like we send each other like so many like healing posts. I follow so many people on Instagram, and I want like a bunch of the people who like I follow. I'm gonna slowly but surely have them on to talk with me through different topics, just so that we can all, first of all, get to know each other. I think that's important. I think healers really need to be getting to know each other because all of us are healers in different modalities, you know what I mean, in different fields. I feel like I'm a healer on an art level. You know,
are.
That's my calling, That's what I feel. So that I love like this medium of like this is random for me, bro. I never ever thought I was gonna do like a live consistently do anything. Me?
Yeah.
But like but this has been such a beautiful process for me. I've gotten to like communicate such beautiful stuff to my fans so far, and also getting like you're my first guest, but I'm gonna have more on as the weeks go by. I love this. I love getting to talk to you about this. I love opening people's hearts to this. Like it's just so important, right? And right now, especially when we have the time to dedicate to ourselves and to our time, like to healing, if we have like that capacity to do that, I think it's just such a beautiful time to hold on to those, or to have these tools, to be hearing these tools from me or for anyone. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And I'm so appreciative that you reached out and then we got to connect in this way. And now I get to connect with your audience because in my opinion, this is what it is about. And even just knowing that there's other people in the world, whether or not I have this interface with them that are doing this work. This is why I find, and I know, social media and the internet, we all have our opinions about it, but in my opinion, the gift of it is when I get messages from people who are in small corners of the world that I might not even have heard of, or I'm not even sure what services are available to them, to know that they at least have access, right, to a greater community and to these tools, regardless of the external circumstances that I, and probably they can't change. If I can do a little part and know that other healers are, that's everything to me.
Amen. Amen. What a beautiful conversation.
I love it.
Thank you so much for coming through, babe.
It's of course. Thank you for having me. Thank you all for listening.
Wait, where do you live in the world?
Now I live in LA, in Venice.
Oh, damn! I just moved to Miami.
Is that where you are? I was wondering where. East Coast, I assumed. Okay.
Yeah, but I come over there. Well, no, but when
we're back open, if you ever come through, I'd love to see you in person.
Able to come back to LA, I will hit you up and we will go get dinner or something.
I love that. Thank you again, Lauren. Have a good one.
Of course. Thank you. Bye. Beautiful. Yes. Okay. I love her. I hope you guys enjoyed that conversation because I enjoyed that conversation. That was very healing for me. I'm just doing stuff in front of you guys so that maybe you can capture some of the healing energy as well. That's kind of all that matters to me. Wow. Processing. That was a beautiful conversation. How are you guys feeling? I know some of y'all don't give a fuck about healing and just want me to sing for you, but I'm not just gonna do that. Nah, for real. But I'm gonna do some singing on next Sunday's live. For those of you who are really dying for that. I'm gonna do some singing next Sunday, and I have another special guest who hopefully pulls through. I think she will. I have a deep feeling that she will. Yeah, it's gonna be dope. It's gonna be dope. And we're gonna focus on sound healing and how sound is an effective healer for me and for this person that's gonna be honest, my guest. Maybe I can try to figure out getting one more guest to also do the same thing, to have the conversation, because I have a lot of beautiful friends actually that this could be a great conversation with. So this is kind of fun though. Like, I love having conversations over this. I don't know if you guys enjoyed that medium, but I did. So I'm gonna do it because this is my life, bitch. Wow. So yeah, the inner child, man. It's a tricky one. It's interesting because I'm kind of doing like, I'm going through everything that I'm talking through over these lives. So yeah, my inner child and I are getting reacquainted for sure. And it's interesting, like, what little things make me happy and why I just like shy away from doing them. You know what I mean? Like, why I choose sometimes to not do them. And it's just like, bro, this makes me happy. Like, why am I not doing it? Doesn't make sense. It makes sense. So that was great to talk through that with her and kind of get some of that insight. If you guys want to follow her, I'm going to post here. Let me put can I comment? I'm going to comment with her. With her at holistic. Oh, okay. Well, you know what? I'm gonna post about it because it's not working for me right now. But holistic psychologist, incredible. Dr. Nicole, thank you. How are you guys feeling? What are you doing? What are you up to? I want to talk to you. Can you guys send me? I don't want to do questions anymore, man. Like, this question and answer shit, it makes, like, what is the point of an interview if y'all get to interview me all day long? P.S. I'm trying out this new foundation, bitch. It doesn't. First of all, you probably were like, foundation? What foundation, right? Because this does not look like foundation, but it is foundation. And she's cute. I like that. It's Pat McGrath. I fucking love Pat McGrath. Iconic. All right. Let's see. Maybe I can go on live this morning. Request me. Yeah, I'm gonna do that for a little bit. Which I don't even know. I'm so haphazard. But it's okay because it's alive, you know what I mean? So it's supposed to be like free flowing. Reach out to you. Request you. All right. Request me if you'd like to join me in conversation. Queen.
I'm good. I can't believe this is happening.
Hi.
Hi, I'm Tinkerbell, and
Your name's Tinkerbell?
yeah, it's actually. I'm just gonna get to my little better. Sorry.
No,
I was in my bathroom.
I love that your name is Tinkerbell. What the fuck? That's amazing.
Uh, I just want to say thank you so much for talking about all of these incredible, deep, spiritual, beautiful, profound, self-developing topics. It like really touches my heart that you're able to share this stuff, because I adore this stuff, and to see someone else just share all of this for the world and to enlighten people, it just literally, I think you're incredible.
Oh, I love you so much. This is such a genuine expression, and I'm receiving it so much because this is exactly why I'm doing this. Like, I'm looking for us, you know what I mean? I want us to resonate. I want us to know that we're not alone. I want us to know that we're so powerful, you know what I mean? And there's ways to get through stuff, and there's tools out there, you know, to help us along our path towards healing and towards becoming the people that we want to be and the better versions of ourselves that we know we are, you know?
Yeah, especially because I've been on my own journey of healing, and I've had a lot of very deep-rooted issues that I've been having to get through for years. And I'm during this time, I'm just thinking about how far I've come, and it takes a lot to even give yourself the credit to acknowledge that you've come this far. And because I've spent my life beating myself up and feeling so worthless and just tearing myself down because of certain experiences, and now I'm able to tell myself, no, stop it, Tinkerbell. You are worthy, you are worth it. And you have to stop your thoughts and just change them right there.
Amen. Amen,
And
babe.
I
I am
love the
so
spirit. Amazing.
Yes, I love this. I'm so glad that you resonate, and I'm so proud of you on your journey. Like, I don't know what you've gone through, but I imagine that it was a lot and that it took a lot to get to where you are right now. So I'm so grateful that you did that work, bitch. You did that work.
And
Yes.
also,
And the closer we all get to healing, man, this
exactly.
world that we see around us that we're all so mad about, that we're all like, why the heck is this happening? Like, how is this dude literally a president? Like, how does this make sense? Like, and we
And
all kind of get into those spaces where we don't know what it is, but we know what it is, and we're on our way towards fixing it by fixing ourselves, and not fixing, like, just like healing, just holding compassionate space for ourselves and holding this space for us to grow, you know, instead of just making ourselves feel like we're the older version or this fake version that everybody else projects onto us, you know?
it's like there's so many times well, for me, I feel like I can get so out of the line of what my higher self wants to do, and I just feel like these live streams are just, it's like kind of a message from the universe to tell me you need to focus on yourself and your spirituality and just get back on track with all of that. And I love these live streams because it's really helping me, and I really appreciate that. And
Hey,
also when
honestly, Tink, if you're the only person in house, I'm cool with that. Like, literally. You're
I
so
think
beautiful. You have such a beautiful soul. I can like feel it.
on like with these live streams, when I'm looking at you, I can feel the energy, and it's wow, you are intense. Your energy is so light and strong. You're a true light worker. And
Oh my God, this is so beautiful. I'm so glad that I happened to pick you. This is what I'm saying. Like, this is why I start the live at 333. It's divine. This moment is divine.
yeah, I was looking at the numbers, like there is meaning behind why you picked those numbers.
You already know, Teddy. You already know. So where do you live? Are you in England?
Yeah, I'm in England,
What
but I've
part?
lived Brighton.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I've lived different places: Philippines, Scotland, Wales. Yeah,
Amazing. Where were you
just
born?
Somerset, England, which is a
Yeah, yeah. So is
mhm.
that north?
No, it's south.
Oh, south.
South. Yeah, I only got to live there for 4 weeks, and then I moved up to Scotland, and then went to the Philippines, and then to England, and then to Wales, and then the Philippines, and then England, and then I moved out.
Oh, that's a lot. That's a lot. I can imagine that's a lot. But that's also kind of beautiful too, to get to experience so many different like places in your youth.
I felt so ashamed growing up because I was discriminated against because of my culture, my skin, blah blah blah, and it's just nice growing up in the Philippines because I got to experience my mom's culture, and then I learned being ashamed of my culture, I learned to embrace it and be proud of my mom's heritage. It's cool.
That's beautiful. That is so beautiful. I love that. What a beautiful story. I hope that we meet one day. I would be really happy about that.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah, when I come over to England, like please come to the meet and greet or like come outside. I will see your face and we will have a hug.
One thing that's helping me right now is you mentioned it last week as a book The Five Love Languages. So I
Uh-huh.
think I just think that is absolutely incredible. It just makes so
Are you
much
reading
sense.
it?
I've read it. I've finished reading it, and I'm like writing posts about all of this. I've been doing this for a while, but
You're breaking up a little bit, babe. Do you think you can get someone that has a
oh,
bit better Wi-Fi?
is it better now?
Yeah.
Cool. So I just like I don't really have much of a following and stuff, but I just love writing because I think communication is so, so important, and you have to be so open with people and so honest with people. And it's
Yeah.
just, I do my part because I love writing, I love words, I like doing poetry and stuff. I like to share what I'm thinking. I'm very, I guess, being really suppressed growing up, struggling with social anxiety and selective mutism. Now that I'm in a place where I've worked through those issues, and obviously I'm still working, but I'm not in as bad of a place as I was. I just find it incredible to be able to write, to share stuff with the world, because it's like your outlet, and you can heal
Yep.
and you can share stories. And I've written posts about my own struggles in hopes it will help other people.
That's
So I
beautiful,
just,
babe. And that's what it is. That's what art is about. That is what expression is about. It's so that we can all relate to one another. And you said you don't have that big of a following, but I know I can feel that you will just because you are so honest through your expression. And I'm so glad that you have that medium that you feel comfortable with of expressing yourself of writing. What's your Instagram? Y'all should go follow her. What's your Instagram?
it's Tinkerbell_Faye, Faye.
Cool. Amazing. Type it in the comments too so they can just see it if they didn't catch that. But dope. I wish you so much love.
Thank you so
Yeah,
much.
I wish you luck with your writing. I hope it spreads across the world and touches people. I know it probably will. And I love you.
I
You're
love you so
so
much.
cute.
And beautiful and amazing, and I'm literally the lyrics for 50 Feet,
You love them?
especially. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely adore them and resonate so much, and especially if your mind, body, soul ain't aligned, don't be messing with mine.
I don't need you messing with mine.
Preach! Can I
No,
scream this from
thank
the
you. 50 feet. 50 feet. All right, I love you, babe. Nice
I
meeting
love you
you.
so much. You're amazing, and yeah, keep
Mwah.
shining.
Bye, lovely. Damn. Okay, shout out to Tink because Tinkerbell was fantastic. Y'all better go follow her because I'm positive that she has incredible writing. Like I can just feel it. Like I need to go follow. I need to go follow her shit. But like Tink, send your Insta again because I did not save it. No, Cleo. Just trying to help out. Wait, send your Instagram. Send it in the comments, please. Anyways, do y'all hear this puppy? Do y'all hear this puppy? If I let her out, I have a feeling she's gonna bark, but maybe she won't because she's been like, "Hey, mommy. Hey, mommy. Hey, mommy. Yeah, say hi to the people. Say hi to the people." Oh my god. Oh my god. Say hi. Why are you obsessed with me? Oh, okay. 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 Yeah, she's not having it. She doesn't want to say hi. Sorry. Yeah, Cleo's like a regular on the show. Cleo, I should start paying her or some shit. No, bitch, I don't even get paid. I don't even get paid. She'll get a treat every once in a while. Guys, she knows how to do paw now. When I tell her sit and do pop, she won't do it right now because I don't have treats. My parents have treats at their house. But dude, she can give paw now. She like I'm like paw, and she'll be like, that's a proud mom moment. It's kind of like taking first steps. You know what I mean? In my opinion. Anyways, damn, what a beautiful live this has been. I hope that you guys felt the healing that has transpired. I think it's so gorgeous, dude. Last night I was watching BB Borelli's live stream that she just did of her society sessions. I think that's what it's called. I'm pretty sure that's what it's called. And she had Sims. She had Van Ness, I think is what their name is. They're a duo, women musicians, amazing. And SZA was on it, the three of them. And it was just a beautiful conversation between real human beings. I don't know about y'all, but I appreciate that. I really appreciate real humans. I appreciate real humans. I appreciate people who are not fronting like and telling the truth about their experiences and their realities and their vulnerabilities. I think that that's so important. Like, I don't know. I don't know how you feel. That's how I feel. All right, next Alive, I'm gonna sing a song. So if you, or I'll sing a few songs. I low-key am down to sing a few songs. I'm gonna sing for y'all. So if you guys could send me requests on the Twitter, I might post this onto my main page because this shit is fire. Like, these conversations are beautiful, and I think more people need to hear them. It's just my opinion. I have nothing else to talk to y'all about, so I'm gonna go. I love you super much. Please keep listening to 50 Feet. Show it to your family. Show it to your friends. Show it to your business partners. Show it to your coworkers. Put it in your background while you're on Zoom. Like, just have it casually playing around. If you're going to a supermarket, put it in a speaker and just walk around the supermarket. 6 feet, 50 feet. What else? Give me suggestions. Work out. Use it to smoke to. Use it to drink some wine to. Use it to brighten your morning because it's a vibe in the morning just to get you set right. You know what I mean? What else can we do? There's so many options. Show it to your friends. Put it in a playlist. Send it to that lover of yours. But maybe not because you don't want 50 feet from the lover. So maybe put lento in that one. If it's for a lover. Oh, you know what? Put them onto something. Put her onto something. Put them onto something. Give them 50 feet. All right. That's my quota of self-promo for the day. I just want y'all to know that it's, I don't want to have to tell you to listen to the song, but I appreciate you listening to the song. And I actually really appreciate you sharing the song. And I believe in my own music, so I'm going to share it with you that I appreciate you sharing. All right, now I'm actually done. Now I'm for sure done. Now this is exceeded limit. I love you. And I hope you have a beautiful rest of your day. Happy fucking Sunday.